a topic that also impacts on all 9 other areas. You heard the fantastic presentation by the Imam from France, and the first words out of his mouth had to do with the Internet. It is the multiplier, it's the game changer, and there's so many diverse aspects to this challenge and this opportunity that may be one of the most daunting challenges of all was to come up with a coherent approach to the issue of anti-Semitism in the Internet and in the media. I want to thank, not just for this morning, but for the last few years, the remarkable tenacity and steadfastness on this issue to my good friend David Matas and his colleague and partner in crime, Dr. Andre Oboler, who will present, try to put into a context for all of us one of the approaches that we can take to the multiple and multiplying challenges online. Andre, it's yours.
I'd like to start by thanking the Foreign Ministry for calling this conference together, for bringing us into this room, into this forum where we can discuss these important issues. As Rabbi Cooper mentioned, David and myself have been working now since 2009 when we were first appointed co-chairs of this working group. And it's been a challenge. In 4 years, the internet has changed remarkably. When we first started, Twitter was just beginning on the scene. Twitter today is as mainstream as things come. So my first thanks are to Gideon Bahar and to the Foreign Ministry for pulling this conference together, to Ruth for all her help in bringing things together, and to our working group participants who have given David and myself a lot of work with all of their responses to our queries and requests for information, for best practice models, for ideas. We had a working group of around 50 people, a big group, and I'd say pretty much everyone there contributed significantly to our discussions and our plans for going forward. And of course my deep thanks to my co-chair David Matas, who has worked tirelessly with me in getting us to where we are now. The internet continues to be an incubator for anti-Semitism and for extremism. The volume and impact of online anti-Semitism continues to grow. We have made progress, but the task is exponentially larger each time we meet, each time we discuss this problem. Many stakeholders in this field are still learning the importance of combating anti-Semitism, and some are not yet ready to accept their own social responsibility, for effectively responding to the growth of hate speech. Too often, this forces those combating anti-Semitism to rely on our last resort of defence. The last line of defence is legislation and public prosecution. This should not be where the battle starts. This should not be something we need to do. But all too often, this is the only response that will get the only action that will get a response, that will actually cause content to be taken down and will cause platform providers to stand up and take notice. The mainstream media is also a problem. It has its share of anti-Semitism, both intentional and unintentional. There's a relationship between the mainstream media and the internet. Common memes that are spread through the internet that become a part of our dialogue. Common memes such as blood libels. These are not new, but through the internet they're gaining modern currency and they're gaining use and acceptance. The protocols are gaining use and acceptance in places we would not expect because they are becoming part of the public discourse once again. The changes to modern media as well, because of changes to the sector, because of the internet's impact on print media in particular, this also has an impact. There are questions of quality, there's questions of new forums, there's questions of monitoring both articles by journalists above the line, but also comments below the line on mainstream media. These are all challenges that we face. The working group on internet and the media has been active since 2009. In 2011, with the support of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we convened a standalone working group meeting in Jerusalem. This was outside of the context of a global forum conference. It was a very successful meeting. The meeting led to a report which we've developed since 2011 over the last few years, a report that's 57 pages long. It's called Online Anti-Semitism, a systematic review of the problem, the response and the need for change. The report is divided into 5 sections. The first section is a discussion of incidents that have occurred online. The second is a list of areas of concern. The third has details of positive initiatives, not just by members of our working group, but as many positive initiatives as we could find combating online anti-Semitism anywhere in the world. The fourth section has proposals for the attention of different groups in society. And the fifth section had a list of open challenges. The report includes a survey of work in the field with short summaries of 11 conferences, 43 different reports, all dealing with this problem, largely between 2009 and mid-2011 when we last met. The report includes a set of recommendations, numbering 57 in total. I'm pleased to now officially launch this report. For those that would like a copy, there are some copies on a table at the back of the room. A copy will also be put on the Foreign Ministry's website later today. Our working group at this conference began with a discussion of our report based on our 2011 meeting. The report includes a taxonomy classifying different models of online communication. And this was developed and presented back to this working group meeting yesterday at the request of the 2011 gathering. The taxonomy uses 6 factors to classify online communication: timing, empowerment, moderation, publicness, identity, and social impact. The modes of communication on different platforms with a similar profile can then be treated similarly in terms of community expectations, terms of service norms, and legal obligations. Following our discussion of this model, our working group discussed issues that arose from the report. We discussed challenges that are now before us in 2013. We discussed a number of issues that were still open and have not been resolved in the last 2 years. We discussed where we need to move forward to address these challenges. After this, we had a discussion about the media. We had a panel, and on that panel we had both a journalist and representatives from different media monitoring organisations. Following the discussion on the mainstream media, we moved on to a discussion about incident response, both in the media and online. What's the best way to deal with online hate speech, with online anti-Semitism, when it suddenly appears in front of us? When we suddenly get a call from the community that there's this video calling for Jews to be killed, what do? We discussed models of best practice, we discussed our experiences, we discussed our challenges. After this, we discussed systematic responses. We looked at how we get the platforms to respond better to our requests for change, for our requests for them to pay more attention to this important problem, and how we can get members of society to accept that in the online forum the same rules apply as in society as a whole. This is our challenge. Following this, we went through a list of recommendations which our participants had sent us. I haven't got the number in front of me, but it was about 3 pages worth of recommendations that were sent in. This follows the 57 recommendations which we had from our previous report. I won't go through all of these, but I do want to highlight a couple of our responses. The actions we have going forward relate specifically, or the ones I will announce here, relate specifically to our working group and how we will continue moving forward to tackle this problem. The first recommendation was that our report, which we're releasing to you here today, be made publicly available. The report includes recommendations for all segments of society, and all segments of society need to be able to see this report, consider it, and take action. The next recommendation was that we create a website for the working group. a website where we can share not only this report of our past work and the work resulting from this current meeting, but also future work that our working group and other experts we can invite to join us can take forward. We need to become a clearinghouse for information across the globe. In order to share that information, we also recommended that our working group will set up a mailing list, a newsletter, so that people will be able to receive information on activity that's happening in the field of online anti-Semitism, combating online anti-Semitism, and the media. This will be open for whoever wishes to join us. We will also set up a private mailing list for experts in the field. And these experts will give us the content that will go out in this newsletter to share with the public, and will also work with us to put together new proposals, and to put together plans for further action. One of the plans for further action, which the working group will immediately take forward, is to put together a list of 10 major challenges in the field of online hate and the media. These challenges will be short paragraphs describing the problem, and we will put them out there for public responses. We will put them out there and we will accept submissions and responses from experts around the globe, from the Global Forum and from society as a whole. We're going to work as hard as we can to keep our working group that has been alive for 4 years alive until hopefully we can meet again in Jerusalem for the next Global Forum conference. Our working group has a tough challenge ahead of us. We're working across all of the issues that the Global Forum covers. We're going to keep working, we're going to find more people to join us, and we are going to make a difference. And again, I thank all of our working group members. Without their contributions, without their ongoing commitment to this working group, both in the past and in the future, this work would not be possible. I commend our report to you, and I invite anyone that has comments to please be in touch. Thank you.